We
Horner,
are here with Douriean Fletcher, and she is going to tell us about all these fabulous designs that she made, starting with her recent work in Coming to America, and then we'll go into a few of the other projects where her work has been seen. So Douriean, how does it feel to know that you have designs that are in one of the biggest movies of probably of all times at this point?
it feels fantastic. It's really exciting. I'm really thankful that I've been able to be part of such an amazing project with such legendary entertainers. It feels really good.
Now tell us about some of the work that people can actually see in the movie, because I have photos of the wardrobe, so I'll be able to put them in and include them with the actual article that we're running.
Oh, awesome. So I created some pieces and designed pieces specifically for Princess Mika. And then I guess you'd call them the royal men. So Princess Mika, she had a lip cuff on most of the time. It was part of her adornment of her being a royal part of the regal family. So there was a lip cuff I made. And then in addition to that was a nose ring. It was like a nose cuff that connected to with a chain that connected to her ear. In addition to that, there were pieces that were on King Akeem and Simi that I created. They were the huge beaded necklaces with some of them had red and green and brown designs on them. And then one, which I was surprised to see, was on Morgan Freeman. It was a longer necklace that he wore. Hopefully I didn't spoil it for anyone. And then in addition to that, there was one, I remade Simi's gold neck sash with the masks on it. So those are the pieces that I made and created.
Oh, okay. And you have been doing this for a while, and tell us about your relationship with the extraordinary costume designer Ruth Carter.
So I met Ruth Carter at a jewelry, or what do you call it? Adornment salon that a mutual friend of ours had, and a mentor to me had hosted for me, called her name, sorry. We called it an adornment salon, and her name is CCH Pounder. So we met, she came to one of my adornment salons, and that's how we met. She brought me on to Roots, the remake of Roots. And so that was, what was that, 6 years ago, perhaps? So she really liked my craftsmanship, my artistry, being able to create quickly for the industry. You have to be able to think on your feet and create quickly. She liked that, and she thought I was a nice person. So we worked on that on Roots. And then after that, I asked her, because I really loved doing what I totally enjoy freely and doing it on such a platform. So I asked her if there was a possibility for me to do this on other movies. And she said yes. I didn't know that there were no jewelry makers or designers within the union, though, the local costumer union here in Los Angeles. So I was telling her what I wanted to do and some things I was interested in, some pieces I wanted to make, which were like ornate dresses made out of cowrie shells, ornate dresses made out of, what are these things called? Peacock feathers. And she said, well, I'm being considered for this Afrofuturistic gig. If you want, and at the time I was living in New Orleans, she said I could move out to LA to be the jeweler for the film. So that's how we've been able to build our relationship.
Wow, that has to be so phenomenal. And the thing is, there's such a resurgence and interest in anything that relates to African culture. So what you're doing has come to fruition at a great time because everybody loves films like Black Panther, and everybody's talking about the costumes and the jewelry and accessories, if you will, that are in Coming to America. So, I mean, you should just feel like Cinderella at this point.
It feels really good because I've been creating jewelry for about 11 years now. So, and it's always had that Afrocentric type of aesthetic. So, but a little different, like a little futuristic. So it's really nice to be able to have the opportunity to have such a platform and opportunities that I've had doing what I love.
Now, you mentioned that you had done something that involved peacock feathers. Does this mean that you've traveled around a lot and have been able to get some inspiration from some of the scenery in these different places and that kind of thing?
But I wouldn't would I consider it inspiration? I've traveled to, I spent a semester of school in South Africa. And that's where I learned about the functionality of jewelry and adornments within the Zulu culture. And that was really intriguing to me that if a woman, when she becomes of age, she receives a specific type of jewelry with a specific beadwork pattern and colors. And that was fascinating to me because I had never heard of anything like that. And I loved jewelry when I went. So that's where my perspective and my perspective of jewelry, that's where it comes from, is how do I make it functional for Black Americans? How do I make it functional for the Western world? Aside from that, I really, I think the boldness of where I've gone. So I've been to South Africa and Tanzania, and in those places, just the bold colors, the bold prints, the audacity to walk out of your house with all of these bold prints and beautiful garments, that has been inspirational, definitely, to my work.
Oh, okay. And what do you prefer to make? Do you like, I'm talking about in terms of metals. Do you like working with gold or what?
I like I like working with all of them for all different reasons. I like gold because of its purity. I love working with silver because it's actually easy to work with. I love working with brass because of the process of working with brass and how there are certain times when there's a challenge. There's a challenge with brass. It's harder to work with, but the end product, once it's polished, is absolutely beautiful and very unique. Copper is easy to work with as well, and because of the healing properties of copper and the way that when you put it on, at the what is it called? The qualities from the copper can actually help your bones and your muscles. So I love them all for all different reasons.
Oh, that's nice to know. Now, what about gems? What are your favorite gems?
My favorite gems right now, let's see, there's two. No, there's three. My favorite gems right now, and it always changes, is Herkimer diamonds. I love those. They're from Herkimer, New York. One called dioptase. It's this deep dioptase, dioptase. It's this dark emerald color green, but it's a natural stone with like these little gem points on it. That's my other favorite. And then my all-time favorite is rutilated quartz. It's a clear stone and it has these, like, they're called rutiles, but these like little strands of gold within the crystal. So those are my three favorite right now.
Oh, wow. And do you treat yourself to a lot of jewelry, or is your jewelry mainly for other people?
That is a great question. So usually when I create, there are pieces I'll just keep to myself for my own personal collection and as my own heirlooms for, my children and my children to come. I want to make sure I can pass on some of my own jewelry to my offspring. So I keep a few pieces. Or while I'm working, I'll make some specifically for myself.
Okay. Now you have worked with several celebrities. Tell us about a couple of them.
Hmm. I really enjoyed working with Lupita Nyong'o and her team. Lupita is very sweet, very kind, and very supportive. Um, she wore a few of my pieces for the Black Panther South Africa release on there. I think they had a purple carpet. So there, and then at the New York Fashion Week, Black Panther had a show that I was part of, and she wore some of my neck rings there. Her and her team, they're just great. So I really enjoyed working with her. And the other one is Miss Angela Bassett.
Oh, everybody's favorite.
Everyone's favorite. When I first started creating jewelry, she was on my vision board, and I really wanted to create for her. And then a few years later, I saw something of her on Facebook and I reposted it. I said, she had all this jewelry. And I was like, I can make something better. So I reposted it and said, one day she'll be wearing my work. So it was such an amazing opportunity to have her adorned in my work for it was one of the openings for Black Panther as well. And then of course in the film Black Panther.
Oh, that is so wonderful. Now tell me, what advice would you give young people who are going to hear your story and see you right on digital and think, wow, that might be something I can get into? Where should they start?
Vision, the vision. What is their vision? And then focus on that. That's where they should start, is really getting like super clear on what they want. Even if it seems like it sounds crazy or it seems impossible, really focusing on that vision, and focusing on it. So if something tends to like not feel right or tends to get them off track, they have that vision that'll help them get back on track and just keep going.
Mm-hmm. And
And be kind.
what kind of classes would you recommend?
Oh, I mean, everyone's path is different. I would recommend a basic metalsmithing class that will teach you basic cutting, finishing, polishing, soldering, basic metalsmithing skills. And then my first class was a wire working class. So I learned how to manipulate wire to create different pieces. So those are the two. And then maybe a photography class. Now in this day and age, we can, create our own content in our own ads. And I think that would be, then maybe I took, which was really beneficial for me, it was an artist as an entrepreneur workshop to learn how I can prosper and succeed as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the business world.
Okay, that's wonderful advice. Now, you took some children to Africa. Is that my understanding?
Not yet. So I believe it was 2008, I went to Cape Town and I was on Cape Point and just had this feeling that I wanted to provide children from the States with the opportunity and the experience that I had while I was there for a semester. And so one of my passions aside from adorning folks and beautiful women, is to take young children to Africa. I want to get as many passports to young children as possible so they can see the world outside of our country, become global citizens.
That's wonderful. There are some children who've never been outside of one of the 5 boroughs. And so that would be a wonderful thing for you to do. Now, you have the most beautiful earrings on, and I am certain that you must have designed them. So tell us about them.
Yes. So these earrings here, these are my aesthetic with my wire. I create and craft to allow them to, well, to me, they look like masks or different faces. So these are just one of my pieces from my newest collection. They're vermeil, so it's gold plated silver, and they make me feel really powerful and just I can put on a t-shirt or a dress, anything, and they just make me feel really feminine and goddess like. So these are
Wow.
pieces.
And I'm sure that people are going to love purchasing some of your work. So can you please tell us what is the best way for them to get to see your work and then also purchase it?
Yes, so they can go to my website, Douriean.com, Douriean.com. And right now I have my one of a kind pieces online. And next week I'm releasing a new collection. So I'm really, really excited about that. Oh, and then one of the pieces, the lip cuff from Coming to America, that will be available for Women's History Month for a limited time, but it'll be available for this month for
Oh,
purchase.
great. And do your designs come in different price points?
Yes. So the collection that I'm releasing is probably going to, it will be the more, I don't want to say, they'll be at a lower price point than the one of a kind pieces. The one of a kind pieces are more so like collector's items. They're for one's collection as opposed to an accessory.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, we are closing, so please tell us what are your social media handles so that people can follow you.
So, of course, my social media handles are all the same. They're my first name, which is spelled Douriean. And that's also my website is Douriean.com. So that's where everyone can follow.
Okay, well, thank you so much for giving your time to us for writeondigital.com, and we wish you the best of luck. And now I'm going to go back and look at all the photos and clips of your work in different films and on the different celebrities. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Miss Horner. It was an honor to be interviewed by you.
Oh, you're very welcome.